MC, make another hit.
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want.
Millions locked in the safe. Pushing bins, bending corners, high rocking awake. It's tough as still got. That mean anybody can get it. Game dirty, watch how you play. We out for pay, don't get what the president say. From city to town, private to public residence. Any measurement, know what the method is. Got rappers hating.
All right. So, playoff pod, y'all. We made it to, put this volume down. So, made it to the end of season 1. Overall, let's see. I'll say it was a pretty successful season. We had 3 users make it in the East. We'll talk a little about the other teams. Then we had 4 users make it in the West. You had a couple teams like OKC that just barely missed it. But what we're gonna do, man, we're gonna go through the awards, the teams right quick. We're gonna look at these round 1 matchups, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about the schedule and how that played out for a lot of people. So let's start off with the regular season awards, man. You got Wemby dominated this year. Wemby averaging 32, 12, 2 assists, 4 blocks, 72% from the field. He was your MVP. He was also, of course, your Rookie of the Year as well. Wasn't no shock there. And he also was your Defensive Player of the Year. And, to be honest, I feel like this is going to be a guy that's going to probably win. If he ain't winning the MVPs, he's gonna be winning the DPOYs probably over the next, 3, 4, 5 seasons or however many seasons we have. So shout out to Wemby, man. He's definitely a tough matchup. 6-man, you had Bo, averaging 16 points and 8 rebounds in the playoffs right now. In the season, he had 12.5 points, 8 boards, almost 3 blocks a game, 62% from the field. And he's found a role in LA and signed a long-term extension there. So it'll be interesting to see how Bo carries on with this team, moving forward. But shout out to Bo as 6-man. We already talked about Wemby winning DPOY. Most improved, another Spur, Trey Murphy. Trey Murphy averaged 24 a game. 24 a game. Really good percentages too. 5 boards, 3.5 assists. Came in the trade from New Orleans to San Antonio. He's averaging 26 in the playoffs right now, and shooting 48% from 3. So it looks like he's found his niche as well on this Spurs team, with him and Wemby kind of leading the charge. Just looking at where he put up 42 against Phoenix in that first game. Then you had Clutch Player of the Year, Donovan Mitchell. Donovan, he was a user player, and I don't know how they define clutch player. I don't know if it's because of a lot of close games they had or what it is, but Donovan won Clutch Player of the Year. And Coach of the Year, Darvin Ham. The Lakers, they had the best record overall in the league, 24-5, I believe. So shout out to Darvin Ham, who's trying to push LeBron to another title. And Frankie Boyd, who's Executive of the Year. I really don't know how they define that either, but, best record for the Lakers. And that's probably what went into that. I don't even know who a Frankie Boyd is, so I think this is a creative dude. So shout out to Frankie Boyd. Executive of the Year as well. Let's go to the teams. Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. There we go. All team selections. So all team selections, you know, this year, or I think it was last year, where they went positionless on the all NBA and defensive teams. So you had all, it's not surprising you have all bigs on this list. Bigs usually have dominated this league for quite some time. And you have Victor, Jokic, who's a computer player, Giannis, user player, AD, user player, and Sabonis making the all first team all NBA. If you're looking at what they put up, Sabonis had some good numbers. He almost put up a triple-double, had 8 assists, going along with a double-double. AD was averaging 22 and 16, which is, point-wise was aligned with what he's been doing. Rebounds, definitely had a lot of boards this year, and 6 blocks a game, which made me surprised he didn't win defensive player. Oh, never mind. It's the playoffs. My bad, y'all. I'm tripping. So 13 boards for AD, which is right in line with what he did, a couple years back in New Orleans. But also 4 blocks a game too, but still shocked that he didn't have that decoy locked up. I would have thought AD would have won that. Then you had Giannis doing Giannis things, average 31, 11, and 4 assists. I think, it's more so about seeing what Giannis gonna have for help. Jokic, almost put up a triple-double per usual for him. And then we already kind of talked about, Wemby. Second team, you had Luka, Steph, Ja, Bron, Halliburton. Shout out to LeBron, man, still making all NBA teams at 39 years old. 25, 6, and 8 for LeBron. Luka, who's on the playoff Mavs right now, averaging 27, 6, and 7 this year. Ja from the Grizz, 26, 6, and 8. So overall, man, these guys definitely deserve what they, deserve making it. Not surprised to see a lot of guards on this list with all the bigs making the first team. And then the third team, you round out with Tatum, Kyrie, Kawhi, Embiid, Butler. Embiid, even though they had a rough year with Philly, he put up numbers in Philly. So it'll be interesting to see what he gets for help there. And Kyrie, which was Robin to Luka's Batman, who had a great year too. Looking at these defensive squads, you got Caruso, Ben Simmons, Wemby, Giannis, AD, all users on this squad. Caruso was another acquisition for the Spurs late in the year, averaging 3.3 steals a game. He's averaging almost 6 steals in the playoffs, that's wild to see. And we'll look a little bit more at how them games looked for them Spurs so far. I think they played 4 games so far. So shout out to the first team all defense, second team Melton, SGA, Tripp, Evan Mobley, Miles Turner. So three users on this squad as well. Interesting Sha on this squad. Sha must have been locking up this year. And then your rookie teams, you got Victor, Chet, Lively, Scoot, Miller, Brandon Miller on these 2 computer squads here. The Thompson twins both making the second team. Jalen Hood, Shafino from the Lakers making a late push. Yane Yakez Jr. making it. Marcus Sasser making it in Detroit too. So shout out to them Pistons getting some guys on that squad. So it's a little bit about our NBA teams, all NBA teams, defensive squads, rookie squads. Looking at the playoffs, we did have a couple users, man, who got really close to making it. Like what we did this year. Of course, we only factored in user games, and whatever percentage of user games you won, that was the percentage you got for your computer games or for the rest of the games you had available. Outside of select few teams or select few games that would have got forced W's, that's kind of how the records balanced out this year. And some teams got close. Milwaukee was almost in the play-in. They were 10 and 19, but they went 2 and 8 in user games. 2 and 8 in user games, I believe. And Toronto, they had just made it with 1 game ahead. Hawks had a rough year too, trying to adapt to learning Trae Young at 9 and 20. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bucks gonna do, man, this offseason or next year, and also the Hawks. I know both have been talking about making some bigger moves, and so expecting them to be in the playoff squad next year in year 2. Philly, man, 2-27. It was a rough year in Philly. I know Embiid went down early on in the process, but Philly's gonna need some help to try to figure out what their offense is gonna be. Right now, it's just not. It was a first year GM for Philly, and so it'll be interesting to see how they play out the rest of the year. But they did, they went like 0-7 in user games, 0-8 in user games this year. So I'm expecting them to try to get a couple more wins next year, man, in them user games. But if we go through the East, Brooklyn finished 24-5. Actually, I'm gonna pull out these user records right quick. Let's see. So Nets went 7-2 in the user games. Magic went 5-3 in the user games. Wizards went I'm sorry, I'm out. 8-3 Nets, 7-4 Magic, 5-6 for the Wizards, 2-8 for the Bucks. Cavs, they went 3-3. They actually made the play-in and lost that game. Sixers went 0-7 and the Hawks went 2-5 in the user games. So overall, I think it's going to be more competitive next year as some of these other teams kind of get their squads together. But shout out to that East, man. The East definitely took care of a lot of their games this year. Looking at the West, you got LA number 1 with the Spurs looming in number 2. Grizz falling right behind number 3, and the Mavs number 4. No surprise to see these top 4 squads here right now in the West. You had OKC, who barely missed the playoffs, man. They were right outside the play-in as well, 1 game out. And the Rockets, who like Philly, just had a rough year, 1-28. They were 0-8 in their user games. No, they were actually 0-5 in their user games. And so Rockets had a rough year too, man. They actually have a good young squad, so I know there were some trade talks with this Rockets team this year. So it'll be interesting to see who they try to bring on board next year and see if they're going to try to be more competitive, man, and make a playoff push with this team. But OKC, I'm definitely expecting them to be in some trade talks too. They have a young squad, and I think, with SGA, Chet, possibly Giddey, Jalen Williams, they got some guys, man, they can continue to grow with. But overall, this top 4 going to be the brother of the West, and I'm expecting some good second round matchups between these 4 squads too that we're going to get into right quick, man. So as we talked about play-in matchups, you had Portland beat New Orleans, Phoenix beat Denver then beating Portland for that 8th spot, and Phoenix falling into that 7th spot. And they're actually playing against the Spurs right now. And out east, you had Boston beating Cleveland, then had Toronto beating the Hornets, and then Toronto beating Cleveland again. And so Cleveland lost out on that top 8 playoff spot. So right now you got Orlando with Boston. You got Toronto against Brooklyn right now. So these are our matchups right now, man. We're going to start with the West. Lakers, they are up 1-0 on Denver. That was a good game from last night. More, we had LeBron doing his thing, having 29 points. AD did his thing, 6 blocks, double-double, 16 boards. D'Lo almost had a triple-double here, and Bol was a key indicator late in that game too. Denver, which was kind of crazy how, Jokic, he had a bad game early on, but he kind of went to work late in the game. MPJ didn't miss a shot. Man, was 12 for 12. And Reggie Jackson went to work too, like late 3rd, early 4th, I think. I think what hurt Denver though, Denver had, they went a little small at the end, man, and that's when the Lakers were able to dominate on some key possessions. And so overall, it wasn't a great shooting night for LA, but this should be making out to be a pretty good series. I still think LA will take this. If not 4 games, probably 5 games at max. But I expect they got AD to kind of hold Jokic back, and that's going to always help them. So I definitely got Lakers winning this series 4 or 5 games. Dallas, Minnesota is definitely a tough matchup. They took some users by surprise in the season. Dallas had to go heavy with Luka and Kyrie in this game. They actually had a late challenge that helped them out to seal that victory for them. But Minnesota, man, they got a tough squad when you got Cat and Gobert out there. You know, you got Edwards as well, McDaniels for defense. So this is going to be a tough matchup for Dallas, considering they're not one of the biggest teams in the league right now. They're going against one of the bigger teams in the league. So I do think Dallas pulls it out. Dallas should have enough talent with Kyrie and Luka, and, you know, they have some shooters around them. Plus, they're the Wiggins acquisition, too. I think they'll pull this out in 5 games, you know, maybe 6. But I'm definitely expecting the Lakers Mavs second round, which is going to be a pretty good second round matchup, I think, which we'll talk more about later, maybe next week once we kind of get into that. We got Grizz Clippers, which hasn't kicked off yet. But Grizz, you know, they came out late, and they had some key wins late in the season that really helped them out against the Nets, the Magic. You know, they overall they have a good squad, so I am expecting them to definitely make way against these Clippers. Although Clippers are going to be a tough matchup, man. They got PG, Kawhi. They're going to have guys that can definitely, you know, switch and get out on their guys and their shooters. Bane has came along well over the last several games for them too. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this matchup moving forward. I think Grizz can pull it out. I think Grizz will have enough to definitely win this game, win the series. I would give it 6 games, man, for the Grizz. 6 games. They'll win this in 6. And then the Spurs and Phoenix, they already are at coming up game number 5. So Spurs right now are 3-1, man, and like we talked about already, Wemby has just dominated, you know, this Phoenix team. 34, 17, and 8. Had a 17, 8, and 5 game, which unlike him, and then had 48, 5 blocks, 40 and 19 in game 4. And so I expect, you know, Spurs to finish this team out, man. Probably by game 5, I would expect that to be over with today. And Spurs will be waiting on the next round opponent in probably Memphis, most likely, which will be an interesting matchup, man, to see Wemby going up against this Grizz squad and how the Grizz are going to defend them. So got some good second round matchups potentially in this West. Going to the East, Nets, we played Toronto yesterday. Toronto right now, and, you know, ironically, this is the team we made a trade with. And so had Dinwiddie on Toronto, OG here in Brooklyn. So that was a close game early on, and then we were able to kind of pull away late. So expecting to, you know, depending on how this team plays out, we should be able to get them, I think, done in about 4 games or so. One thing I will say about these computer teams this year is that they're a lot harder this year than, I think the game is just harder in general. And so the computer is definitely harder to guard this year. You have guys that can isolate, that are real true stars in this game, and they're going to take advantage if you're not doing a good job on defense. So definitely some tough matchups coming up. You had Washington, they played the Knicks. Knicks beat the Wizards 124-83 in that game 1, and so it'll be interesting, man. Washington, they played majority of user games in their season, and so not a lot of experience against these computer squads. So it'll definitely gonna be a battle for Washington, man. I will say, I think if this may go the distance. I would say at least 6 or 7 games. And it's very possible New York can upset the Wizards here. It's just going to depend on how the Wizards come out in game 2. But if they end up losing game 2, it's going to be an uphill battle as they go on the road to New York. Then you got this computer matchup, Indiana, Miami. Really no dog in the fight here. I think, you probably could argue Miami probably has the better. Yeah, Miami has the better squad. I would anticipate them winning this series, but we'll see. We'll see how that plays out. Miami should take care of business though, with this squad that they have right now. And then you got Orlando, Boston, 2 versus 7. Boston won game 1, and Tatum had 30 points. Pritchard, Pritchard for some reason is aggressive as a mug on this jump. He was aggressive in my game. So this is a good team, man. So Orlando has their work cut out for them. They lost first game by 9 points after the sim. Jaylen Brown didn't really do much. He went 2 for 16, but Tatum did a lot of damage. Guys like Pritchard and White did a lot of damage too, and then you got KP, man, in the middle. It'll be interesting how Orlando will move forward as they, Duncan had 18 in this game. But interested to see what they do to kind of maximize some of their other guys on this roster. I know Money Bates got hurt. Let's see what he had. It was they had a torn left Achilles. So he had a torn left Achilles out for the season. So honestly, it shouldn't be too big of a hurt for Orlando. They got other wings that definitely should be able to step up. But it'd be interesting, man, with Wiseman. They have the front court depth to kind of handle Boston, but the wing depth is where they're going to have to figure out something with Tatum, and they already kind of like they had something with Brown. So overall, man, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 users out of 12 that made the playoffs, which ain't bad for year 1. Honestly, next year I'm hoping to see 12 out of 12 users, man. That way we may have a first round user matchup, which would be great to have. So definitely want everyone to keep playing, man. Keep working on their games. Think about some deals y'all looking to make. If you haven't made your 2 trades this season, make them. You have the opportunity to make a deal, in the off season too. Draft is coming up too. Got several prospects in this draft coming up too. Mainly guys like Holland, Alex Sarr, Isaiah Collier, Edwards, guys like that coming up. I think Bronny's not in this draft. Bronny will be in the next year's draft just because of what happened with him in real life. But gonna be an interesting offseason, interesting playoffs, man. Looking forward to it. Hoping to probably get in the second round. Maybe at this rate, I would say probably by, and considering who's in the league, who's in the playoffs, probably by Monday, Sunday, Monday, something like that. We'll probably be in the second round. Maybe Tuesday, one or the other. But I don't anticipate these series going the distance all the way. So we'll have another pod coming up next week when we get to the second round and talk about some of these other matchups, man. So appreciate y'all, and I'm out.